electronic devices, batteries, chargers, a small radio, and emergency contacts. If you receive an evacuation order, gather your loved ones, grab your bag, your pet food, and leave immediately. For information on shelters for your pets or even your family, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 county-wide. Wearing a mask outside will help protect you from smoke, toxic fume, and particulate matter. If you don't need to go out, it's best to stay home with the windows closed. Getting to know your neighbors is a great way to stay safe, stay connected, and share resources. And Angelinos are stepping up to help. So reach out and find the assistance you need. Mutual Aid LA Network is constantly updating a Google Sheet with mutual aid resources. You can find it at tiny.cc-malan-fire. The earlier you make a plan, the better off you'll be when every second counts. Praying for LA, preparing, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth. We just stand up and fight, walk into the night. We're the people, we can do it if we try. I know we can do it. Somebody ask me, why do we have to go through it? It's the test of our faith, but we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when, but it's coming back again. Oh, yes, it is. It's late to me. Oh, Lord, it's time for you to return. Oh, Lord, I know. Time to make a change.
It is that time once again. Welcome to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We count it all joy that you are here with us today. Doc, we're going to be talking about how they want to sanitize U.S. history. Been doing that for quite some time, but now it is really, really all up in our face. And today is National Day Without Immigrants. There are a lot of protests and gathering all across the country about what is happening to our immigrant sisters and brothers, family and friends. And the DNC over the weekend, they voted for a new chair. Ken Martin of Minnesota is now the new chair of the Democratic National Convention. But before we explore all of that, the doctor is in the house. Dr. West, how are you today? And what is on your heart and your mind?
Oh, my dear sister, I lost my voice in Chicago yesterday.
No way.
Preaching at St. Sabine, a great historic church of Brother Flager. We had a time talking about remembrance, resistance, and resilience grounded in the best of Black history and the best of the species as a whole. So please forgive me if it looks like my voice is about to go out. But you know, anytime I get a chance to talk with you, I get empowered, and lo and behold, at the end of this, my voice be stronger than ever. I may break off in the song with Lil Gerald Levert in the name of the geniuses coming out of Cleveland like yourself.
Yes, sir. And you said that was remembrance, resistance, and...
Remembrance, resistance, and resilience.
And resilience. All right.
Resilience, absolutely. But I must say this, though, that, it's just so much coming at not just Black folk and not just people in the American empire, but the whole world based in Washington, D.C. I mean, before the Trump administration, American politics was legalized bribery and normalized corruption. Now it is just thoroughly normalized gangsterism, thoroughly normalized thuggishness. And what we have to do is not become so preoccupied and obsessed with it that we don't cultivate our own capacities to keep our spirits intact and to keep our moral compass where it belongs, which is coming out of the best of Black history. we come back over and over again to the Ella Bakers and the Martin Kings and so many others. And I think for me, we can't lose sight of this, because you see, once you get caught up in the zone of chaos, that muzzle velocity that Bannon and others have tried to push on Trump, you just throw a zillion things at people, and you can't keep track. There's no way you can attend to all of it simultaneously. And so its aim is to break our spirit. Its aim is to break our backs before we even get a chance to envision a better future, even get a chance to cultivate our character and keep our back straight so we don't become cowardly and excessively conformist. And so we come back over and over again on truth time. Truth time is the right time precisely because it recognizes, like the best of Black history, that if your soul is not intact and if your morality, your integrity and honesty is not strong, you're going to succumb to the temptations of the overwhelming idolatries, which are power, manipulation, transaction, domination. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is all about. And it can keep us away from the sources of our strength and the strengths of our life. Ooh, I go with a little brother Smallwood on total praise on that one, you see. Once you lose sight of that, then you get caught in the vortex of all of that which is whirling, and you lose your roots, and you lose your pillars, and you lose your anchor. And that is so very important, you know. In times like these, you got to have an anchor.
Amen. That is so true. And that whole zone of chaos that you're laying out, that is where we are. You know, and again, I picture either the Tasmanian devil or just being in this hurricane or tornado, you know, where it's just sucking up everything.
That's even a better term.
Yes, it's sucking up everything. You don't even know where to start, right? It's just spinning. Woo, zone of chaos. Well, you are listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we're going to continue some of our conversation about this zone of chaos and add some other stuff to it while we tornado, and we're going to be picking up some other stuff. This is KBLA Talk, baby, 1580.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you're invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super
Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
So, Dr. West, the remembrance, resistance, and resilience. I mean, that's a word for our time. I don't think that's ever, that right there is never going out of style. So I'm sure you had the people shouting in the church. I mean.
Well, they had me shouting. We had Brother Roderick Dixon step up there and sing, "My living is not in vain." And he had sang an operatic song right before that with a power coming out of his heart, mind, and soul, and at a level of artistry that was just beyond extraordinary. So all I had to do was just step up to the pulpit. They did cancel me last year because of the campaign, you see, and I've been there for 37 years. Now, Brother Flaker, you know, he's one of the great legendary figures, 75 years old. He's been pastor for 50 years on the chocolate side. And he is the vanilla Catholic priest and father of the chocolate church. And he got thousands and thousands and thousands of folk. We packed, the church was packed yesterday. It was just extraordinary. But most importantly, you know, we were just trying to accent the ways in which Black folk have always had to deal with these tornadoes. You see, storm is passing over. Hallelujah. We've been in the middle of the storm. And how do we make it through the storm? What kind of spiritual strength, what kind of moral power do we have based on whatever traditions we have, religious traditions, Christian, Islamic, Judaic, or what have you? And that's what folk needed, because folk were so down and out. Chicago's been hit so hard. You know, they got ICE already dragging folk to jail. You've got unbelievable cutbacks in terms of the DEIs. Even Catholic Charities right now is going through a crisis. You know, they got 8 Catholic Charities in Chicago, and they may be forced to close down 5, which means you wouldn't have one in the Black community. And that's one thing Brother Flake has been fighting with tremendous intensity. But I think more than anything else, you know, we just reached the conclusion that we were determined and we gonna go on and fight on and swing on anyway. And ain't nothing gonna stop us. And that's the crucial thing. We're going to connect with Brother Reverend Michael Wolf, making strong stands at Lake Church in Chicago on behalf of the various attacks on the sanctuary sites and precious immigrants and what have you, trying to bring trade union movements in, trying to bring a variety of different institutions in, make sure the resistance is as strong as it ought to be. And this National Day without immigrants reminds you of the great play, Days of Absence.
Yes.
All Black folk just disappeared. What would happen to the country if all Black folk just disappeared? It would collapse. What would happen if all immigrants just disappeared? 67% of agricultural production. People looking for their milk and all you got is water. That's the kind of impact that we're having. And that's what happens when you have blind, myopic, short-sighted, cold-hearted, and mean-spirited leaders who want to scapegoat the most vulnerable. They don't realize the degree to which the country is predicated on the most vulnerable.
That's exactly right, Dr. West. I mean, to me, it's maddening. It's total insanity. And if Americans will look inward, I mean, you have in this Trump 2.0 White House a propensity, not just a propensity, I mean, it is their flat out goal to drive a wedge, American against American, immigrant against immigrant, immigrant against American, American is immigrant. It is the ultimate divide and conquer strategy. And it just makes no sense to me knowing that we're all interconnected in some way, either directly or indirectly, that so many Americans, not all, but far too many, will fall for the okie doke, the technical term. I mean, how could you fall for that? And the National Day Without Immigrants, Doc, and it made me think about even what is happening with some of the federal jobs. You know, how this president is allowing the wealthiest man on the face of the earth to come in to his administration, has no clue about how government works. Government is designed for us to do collectively what we cannot do as individuals. While government needs money to operate, government should not be operating from a purely profit motive. It is a service motive. Let me say that again. It is a service motive that should drive government on all levels, and it needs money to operate. So therefore, we pull our resources, known as taxes, together for a social contract in which we get service from government. Now, it has a whole bunch of other focuses, but it's the antithesis to put Elon Musk or any of those other so-called business people in charge of governmental entities when the modus operandi is totally different. It's opposite. And they go in there without any heart. First of all, with no experience. Secondly, with no heart for the people. You know, I remember one of my mentors used to always say, you know, Mayor Jackson, and people are going to hear this quote quite often because it's universal: you cannot serve that which you do not love. And these people do not love the people of this country. They just don't. They see it as widgets. They see people as expendable. I mean, to shut down services that people need to eat, to live. You know, it just shows a disdain that these folks have. And they want to talk about smaller government. Well, it'd be much smaller if they just get the hell out of it and let the people who want to be of service be in there. And that doesn't mean there shouldn't be some audits. They can start with the Pentagon, Doc, because we talk about it all the time. They fail 6, 7 audits, and they keep getting increased every single year by a bipartisan way. There's no other. How are you gonna fail up like that? But they keep letting them do it. So it's not to say that every function of government is perfect. Audit to make it better, not audit to cut. So it leads me to the people who are about to lose their jobs in the federal government. We know that President Trump has decided to ask people to resign, to give them some type of severance to resign. And we have other Americans cheering this on as if this is some grand plan, that this works. And so like the level of disdain against other Americans having jobs to support not only their family, but their public servants too, Dr. West. They are not elected public servants, but they are public servants nevertheless. But that just shows the decay of our psyche. What do you call it, Doc? The zone of chaos is in full effect.
And that spiritual decay, the decrepitude of the soul, which is the moral bankruptcy of not only a self, but of a culture and a society. And that's really what we're dealing with. Now, again, you've always pointed out, my dear sister, it's been in place for a long time. From the stolen land, the stolen peoples, the lies of white supremacy, the organized greed of the robber barons, working people turning against each other, but still fighting for crumbs and so forth. But when you reach a particular moment that we're in, you see, this is a moment that is distinctive because all of the worst comes together and coincides. This is what Malcolm meant when he said chickens come home to roost. He didn't say little isolated chicken in the corner come home to roost. All of them come together.
Yeah.
The violence, the hatred, the greed, the envy, the game. And then Trump becomes a sign and symbol of that. He's not the cause of it because he's an expression of it. He's a reflection and a refraction of it, but he still must take responsibility. And that kind of gangster leadership that we are seeing that turns people against each other and turns, of course, most people around the world look at America and just laugh. They say, wow, I didn't know that the gangster power would have that kind of heightened status. Who would have thought that the United States on the international stage would be such a laughing stock, and yet at the same time very serious about the damage done?
Yeah. And the ripple effect. I mean, we know over the weekend the tariff threat, 25%. You got China, Mexico, and Canada. And now you have, again, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We learned this in basic science classes. And so the opposite reaction from these countries have been, I see your tariffs and I'm going to raise you. So now we're about to hit these tariff battles. Tariffs in and of themselves are not necessarily a bad thing if you use them strategically, but if you weaponize tariffs, it can in fact have a detrimental impact on the consumer, and the consumer is us.
That's very true. When that inflation kicks in, we think these eggs are high now. It's going to be it's going to be atrocious. It really is. But see, this is what happens. I think Brother Robert Kuttner's right. When you get ignorance, arrogance, and incompetence grounded in greed, hatred, and indifference toward the vulnerable. This is, we're watching in real time an empire implode, decay, decline. Just like we saw the genocide in Gaza, real time before our very eyes. The babies killed, the innocent men and women killed. Here in the United States, we're seeing the empire. And we've seen this in Black communities. We were the canary in the mines. Black communities have already been decayed. The vicious forms of attack, unemployment, Black folk turning on each other, violence, and so forth. Now it's gone national, and the whole world can see it. You say, oh my God, what happened to the best of America? Well, we got some Black history for you.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we could tell you what the best of America is. It's not just Black, but you could start with us, and you're gonna stay there for a while.
That's it. Listen, you always got to start on the chocolate side for liberation, for true deep-seated liberation. And I'm glad you brought that up. Listen, everybody, we are in Black History Month, and starting this Thursday, our Teaching Thursdays, you can only get this here on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and yours truly. So I cannot wait for us to have our first Teaching Thursday coming up this Thursday, and we'll have one each subsequent Thursday in the month of February, centering the power, the prowess, and the promise of Black history through the lens of either figures, inspirational figures, historic figures who went through stuff. Because we talk about these people as if they ain't go through nothing. They went through a lot. They went through a lot. And or we'll talk about different systemic challenges that then impact not only the Black community, but the larger community at large. But we are often always the canary in that coal mine. So like over the weekend, so we can't wait. So please make sure you join us for our Teach-In Thursdays. So over the weekend, the DNC did in fact elect a new chair. Ken Martin of Minnesota is the winner. There were vice chairmanships that were voted upon too, and where people won. But our dear brother John Nichols wrote a very piercing article about what the future holds for the Democratic Party, that there is, in my words, promise in the problem if they're able to seize on that promise. And part of what he instructed or recommends for the Democratic Party to do is take an internal and external look at yourself, internally and externally, and act accordingly based on that analysis. And then he went further and said that there must be an absolute commitment to economic, social, and racial justice. Now, that's the summation of the article our dear brother John wrote. And I can tell you that I am in deep agreement with what he wrote in that article.
No, Brother Nichols, he's somebody that goes a long way back in terms of being a serious, not just progressive, but left wing of what he perceived to be the possible language of Michael Harrington and Bernie Sanders and others. And he represents so much of the best of the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party has so many shortcomings and blind spots and so forth, but his voice is a crucial one. And I tell you that now, if you had been one of those candidates, we talk about something qualitatively different. Because I've got my critique of the two-party system as a whole. I got my critique of the Democratic Party as a whole. But there's still folk who are holding on for dear life in that party, like Brother Nichols and others.
Yeah.
And but the very fact that it's just hard to find a place in the Democratic Party for somebody like yourself, somebody like Nichols and others. And we just, we have to be honest about it and say, well, how do we wrestle with that? You see, that's a challenge.
It is, Doc. And yeah, I had many of people say, Sister Turner, Sister Senator, please do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get it. And I love the fact that you and I both can recognize that there are people within that party structure who are true believers and they want to change it. Doc, when we come forward, we will continue this discussion about the election of the new DNC chair and what the Democratic Party can do to be the resistance and stand up for the people of this great country. You are listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, man.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump is delaying tariffs on Mexico for a month after speaking with President Claudia Sheinbaum. Sheinbaum says Mexico will deploy 10,000 troops to the U.S. border to combat drug trafficking. The announcement helps stocks recover after an early drop. Meanwhile, tariffs on Canada and China will take effect at midnight. The federal government is ending cultural diversity celebrations. The Defense and Transportation Departments will no longer recognize cultural awareness months like Black History Month or Pride Month. Sean Diddy Combs was secretly taken to a hospital from a NYC jail for a knee scan before returning. The 55-year-old music mogul awaiting trial at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center reportedly complained of knee pain. And Virginia Attorney General Jason Myers and 18 other state attorneys general urged Costco to end its DEI policies, calling them discriminatory. The letter demands an explanation if policies are not repealed within 30 days. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Choking is the 4th leading cause of accidental deaths. LifeVac is a life-saving airway clearance device, which has saved over 3,000 lives. Go to lifevac.com and enter promo code LIFE to save 20% to secure your home kit today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers' new star, Luka Doncic, arrived in Los Angeles Sunday night. Doncic was part of a 3-team trade Saturday that sent Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks. The Lakers aren't sure when Doncic will be able to play. The Lakers played the Clippers Tuesday and Golden State on Thursday. Doncic hasn't played since Christmas Day because of a strained calf muscle. Doncic is a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection, but behind the scenes in Dallas, he had a reputation for poor conditioning and bad eating habits. NBA sources say the lack of focus and taking care of his body is one of the reasons the Mavericks were willing to trade Doncic. The Lakers might be considering other moves before Thursday's trade deadline. They need to come up with an impact player in the middle. It will be very difficult to replace the production they got from AD on both ends of the court. More to come on this situation. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Kadeen and Deval Ellis for P&G Good Every Day.
Babe, guess what? We can save big on all our favorite P&G brands like Tide, Cascade, and Febreze. Plus, support great causes every day.
Wait, hold on. You telling me we can save money and feel good about it? How?
Well, remember how Granny and Big Mama used to save money by cutting those coupons out of Sunday papers? Now we just go to pggoodeveryday.com, sign up for P&G's free rewards program, and get exclusive coupons.
Okay, so we can get VIP status and save money.
Exactly. We stock up on the P&G products so you, the boys, and I are good every day, just like our folks did for us.
Well, you better go visit pggoodeveryday.com right now because you got to go buy some detergent and toothpaste and toilet paper.
Me?
Yeah, you. And with all that extra cash, I got to go buy these new sneakers.
It's okay, funny man. You got jokes. Boy, focus on these savings first.
Visit pggoodeveryday.com.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips. Now I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you're invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back.
Yes. So, Doc, in talking about the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, or Committee, I should say, and what opportunities await. Now, we know that they lost. They were shellacked. I think that's a term that President Obama used back in 2010 when Democrats were handed then in the midterms, which seemed many lifetimes ago, but they had lost over 1,000 seats when you combine state and federal seats to that number. And President Obama had to admit, yeah, we got shellacked. You fast forward 2024, pretty much the same thing happened again, but behind all of this, that was much different than 2010 is a neo-fascist leader that is rippling across this country, not on the federal level, but he has players on the field in that he has governors, the Republican governors and attorney generals and secretary of states across this country and legislatures are willing for the most part to play ball with him. And so that enhances his power. As a matter of fact, there are some companies that have decided to keep DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion in place. And some of these attorney generals are actually suing Costco and mandating that they give them an answer in 30 days as to why they're doing that, which is outrageous. So his power, or the zone of chaos, is amplified because he has Republican players on the field with similar power and similar depravity unfortunately. So in comes the Democratic Party. Doc, you ran for president. You refused to run as a Democrat. I know many people wanted to try to get you to run that way, not because they were so in love, myself included, not in love with the Democratic Party, but because the duopoly has such a hold on the body politic in our country. For some of us, it was what is the best path, but you absolutely refused. It was a moral clarity that you had, and I understand and respect that, as do many others. But we are faced now that if the Democratic Party does not get a new attitude and a new way of operating, then we're going to be back in the same place. There may not be, the Republicans may very well continue to hold power during the midterms that are coming up in 2026. And we can't skip over 2026 to get to 2028.
That's very true. That's very true. The great Glenn Ford, he's one of the towering revolutionary journalists of the last 50 years, founder of Black Agenda Report. And he used to say that social movements go to die in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has a way of incorporating and diluting. And what happens is they skim off the top, the middle class elites and so forth, and they leave the poor and working people behind. Now, of course, you speak to this issue in a very, very powerful way, and therefore you find yourself both in but not of the party in that sense. And I think it's always a challenge, but you can't just have a movement that is putting pressure to bear that has no consequences in the everyday life of people in regard to policy. But you can't just have policies that are so divorced from the social movements of everyday people that they get co-opted. Now, we don't have any strong social movements right now. We've got some voices, we've got some institutions, we've got some decent individuals, but we don't have a social movement at all. And right now, we just need a strong anti-fascist coming together that would take the form either of massive civil disobedience. You've got to hit the streets. You have to go to jail. And some of us, are going to die. Some of us might get shot because these are the kinds of days in which those who are serious about bearing witness have to be willing to pay the ultimate price. You're dealing with gangsters. You're dealing with serious thugs. And they'll do anything. They don't care about a life, a black life, a working class life, a gay, lesbian, trans life. They don't even care about a white working male life. They just want to make money and keep their power and position. That's why I always come back over and over again. Is your soul intact? Is your moral compass strong enough to sustain you in these grim times? But we got to keep in mind, this too shall pass.
Yes, indeed. Even now more than ever, people must believe that. And I know it's hard because this shock and awe is coming so fast, but there's going to be that moment where I think not that people are going to settle in settling for what is happening, but a settling of let me get my stasis so that I can fight. And whatever that fight looks like, it may be different for different people. And even, in this moment and knowing that people have got to know in their heart and their soul that what this man is doing and what his administration is attempting to do is wrong for the future of this country. And so back to that duopoly point, Doc. So we only have two, which in and of itself is an asinine proposition when you got over 300 million people, and to think that they fit only in two political parties.
That's true.
Doesn't compute, but here we are. Nevertheless, we do have the Green Party that has tried, is on ballots across the country and has tried, decade after decade to get some traction. It's very hard because both parties will try to crush a third party. You want to see the two parties unite. They will unite to crush a third party. In some states, they make it even harder for an independent, as you ran as an independent, to get on the ballot, as you know. So as we look at the opportunities and options being fully aware of the hurdles for a number of the options that are out there, but extraordinarily hard to surmount. More than hurdles, the mountain. And then you got the Democratic Party that blew it, totally blew it, which is why we have Trump 2.0. Got to confess that. Got to go ahead and tell the truth. You got some folks out there trying to blame voters, which is a no-no. No, you blame the people in power who did not change material conditions as to why between 10 million and 15 million people decided in 2024 just to not show up and vote, who showed up in 2020. That onus is not on the voters. It is on the Democratic Party. So, Doc, here we are. People are going to say, Dr. West, here we are. Is there anything? So Brother Nichols said, change socially, economically, and racial justice. Is this the moment, Doc, because of the shakeup in the election, that just maybe the DNC could do it?
And the Democratic Party can come back to life?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not holding my breath. Okay. I'm not holding my breath. I think Democratic Party is just so colonized and dominated by big money. You can't say a word of ceasefire. Can't say a word about genocide. Can't say a word about mass incarceration. Can't say a word about poverty. So how do you have a moral compass if you can't hit those issues? You know what I mean? And if you're going to compete with a neo-fascist party that is talking about inflation and blaming oppression on immigrants and so forth, that language is going to catch on more easily than any kind of milquetoast neoliberal language that is tied to big money, big donors, and the neoliberal billionaires as opposed to the neo-fascist supporting billionaires. So it's just hard for me. But I mean, again, as you know, I have a love and connection to a whole lot of folk who still in the Democratic Party. We just have our disagreements and things, but I can understand they in there fighting.
Yeah,
they're fighting, and I'm fighting with them because, of course, ain't no party gonna get in the way of our solidarity when it comes to empowering everyday working people and Black people and poor people.
That's right. No party will get in the way of that. Well, when we come forward, Dr. Cornel West and we will continue this conversation. You are listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
The following is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways for the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a complimentary stay in Cancun at a luxury resort, then Family Vacation Getaways may have your ticket to paradise. We're giving away a 5-day and 4-night stay to the first qualified 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You may also be eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $398. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you may be eligible to get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $398. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431. Again, call 868-6431 and give us your answer.
The sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Matayo, and this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back.
So the DNC has elected a new chairman named Ken Martin from the great state of Minnesota. He has pledged to only take money from billionaires that share our values. That's what Brother Martin said. Doc, I want to give him a chance. I do understand. I think I understand where he's going. I mean, the goal should be, in my estimation, that the DNC should accept no dark money at all, but especially during the primary process, so that people running as Democrats could have a fair chance to fight without big money coming in to dominate. That happened in my race in 2021 and also in 2022, where AIPAC came in and drowned out, and just flat out lied, but AIPAC and DMFI, and they did the same thing to Sister Congresswoman Cori Bush and also to Congressman Bowman as well, pledging to spend $100 million in races like that. And I mean, when I tell you they spent that money against those two because they dared to stand up for Palestinian lives and just justice, just asking for a ceasefire and justice for both people, self-determination for both Israelis and Palestinians, but that was a bridge too far. And we have groups like AIPAC, like DMFI, like the NRA, the National Rifle Association, the NRA, the National Restaurant Association, that is suppressing wages in this country. We have a sub-minimum wage, sisters and brothers, family and friends. People might not know that, Doc, or recognize that, but if you are blessed enough to be able to have a meal or two out, when those servers come and take your order and bring your food, those folks, by and large, are making about $2.13. By and large, there may be a few states where it's a little higher, but they are not making the minimum wage, hence the sub-minimum wage. So when you have the pharmaceutical companies and others, like the organizations I just named, dark money groups coming in to drown out the voices of voters, something is wrong with that. So in order for the Democratic Party to truly be the opposition party, Doc, they're going to have to change the rules of engagement internally and externally. And part of that is no dark money in primaries. Minimally.
That's real. But, we could be reaching the point where the party system as a whole so thoroughly loses its legitimacy and trustworthiness that you no longer really have a public life or a form of politics in which voices are exchanging and trying to come up with conceptions of public interest and common good. And what happens there is you end up with just wholesale public chaos, because you end up with just folk who express themselves in a variety of different ways. It could be forms of rebellion, it could be creating chaos, it could be forms of revenge, it could be forms of retribution. I mean, that's not politics at all. That's just the survival of the slickest and the richest. That's not politics as understood in any kind of semblance, let alone distance from a democratic project. And once democracy just thoroughly non-existent across the board, then what do you have? Well, you got oligarchs. That's survival of the richest and the slickest and the most powerful with the most money. And the two parties become just secondary and tertiary. They just tools to be used by the oligarchs, the billionaires, the plutocrats, and so forth. And once you reach that point, then the people become so frustrated that they begin to express themselves in a way in which so many colonists did in 1776.
Oh, yeah. What was it, Patrick Henry rolling through there? Talking about give me liberty or give me death.
It was Thomas Jefferson who said, my dear sister reminded me in church, and she came up to me and said, now you remember, Brother West, Thomas Jefferson said, I know you're critical of him, but he said where tyranny lies, rebellion is a duty.
That's it.
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Imperfect, as all of the framers were.
That's right.
But they said some things. They did say some things that we can draw upon when we come forward. We're going to finish talking about those things. And we must look at the fact that in this country, teaching true American history is not in style. You're listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Patayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
It is beautiful indeed. So Dr. West and I have been unpacking the fact that the Democratic Party, or the DNC, Democratic National Committee, has an opportunity. Doc ain't he leaning back on this, but we will put out there that they have an opportunity to do a new thing. Let's see if they will do it. They have a new chair and new vice chairs. And so we holding out some hope that this is exactly what is going to happen, that change is going to come for the Democratic Party to be able to mount a strong defense and offense against the neo-fascism of the Republican Party and stand up. One of these two parties need to stand up and work for working class people from all backgrounds. Doc is a little more skeptical, so Doc, I'm gonna balance you out a little bit. Hold now. We hold now. Okay, I'm gonna hold out a little more.
None of us have a monopoly on truth, but it's got to be the people. In the end, it's got to be the people.
Got to be the people in the end. Yeah. Speaking of the people, so there may be some new credentialing requirements to be a teacher. Federal funding may be cut to schools. Already a threat has been made to cut to schools that require vaccinations or that engage in discussions on topics such as race, gender, and sexuality. And the Trump administration seeks to drive out professionals or teachers from the profession who want to teach these issues by creating a new credentialing body. And this body will base giving credentials to teachers on, do they uphold patriotic values? Man, you talking about really turning back the hands of time. I mean, this is exactly what is going on here. And if we don't understand our future, we are definitely, or our past, our history, we are certainly, Dr. West, doomed to repeat it. This is scandalous.
Oh, it's true. Well, it's like putting a sign out in front of your schoolhouse. All those who are in search of truth do not enter.
Do not enter. Yes.
Do not enter.
Need not apply.
Need not apply. But we want to thank Brother Faraji, one of the best brothers come out of Baltimore, concerned about truth time and the truth telling in that regard, and the ways in which we're able to have these marvelous dialogues, and the way in which you're able to lift it and weave it, the way Mary Lou Williams was weaving her jazz orchestra around. But Brother Faraji plays an important role in terms of keeping us up on this.
And she was the only woman, Doc, you said, who had her own.
That's right. Well, no, Mary Lou was not the only one. She's the greatest one.
The greatest one. Okay.
Yeah, because remember Hazel Scott now.
Yes.
Out of Trinidad, who married Adam Clayton Powell. They stayed together for what? Adam Clayton Powell IV. She was a giant too. So you had a number of women who did, but Mary Lou Williams was like Duke and Count Basie. You talking about the highest levels of genius and artistic excellence and style. And she converted to Catholicism.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Isn't that rich?
Well, yeah, that is rich. I love how you always weaving in the music into our discussions, that history. My Nina note real quickly for today is that there's been a boycott that started on February the 1st against Target, and people are showing up and showing out. Our purchase is our power. So folks, please make sure that you are paying attention to the collective actions we can take to stand up for justice in all of its forms, but particularly economic justice. But we have had a time here today. We cannot wait to do it with you again on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton.